हैंडसम अफरीदी, क्या बात है कोई ना सोना मुंडा
बिल्कुल गुड टू मीट यू
गुड टू सी यू ब्रदर दिल दा भी बड़ा सोना दिल दा भी बड़ा सोना
पाजी के साथ हमने बहुत क्रिकेट खेली है जी
यार तुम्हारे पास ऐसे बंदे कहाँ चले गए हैं कहाँ गए यार तुम्हारे पास
So Mochi's back with the first extract from this book, The Game Changer, an autobiography or a memoir, you can say, of Shahid Khan Afridi, Boom Boom for the cricketing world and Lala for his close associates. So when this man entered the arena, the cricketing world, when he burst into the scene, the cricket was shifting. It was shifting from the era of skill, expertise, mastery, patience, talent, skill sets, a gentleman's game, where everything was like a proper kind of like you go by the book. So it was changing. It was changing to the era of entertainers, sloggers, crowd pullers, abrasive cricketers, and there's none better example than this man, Shahid Khan Afridi. So that's why the book has been named as The Game Changer. It's like from like Majid Khan, Zahir Abbas, the class, the touch, the timing, Javed Miadar, the street smart cricketer, the best technique you'll ever see. And we were changing to people like Jia Surya, Chris Gale, Sehwag, and this man, Shahid Khan Afridi, who just got your heart pumping. Shahid Khan Afridi played almost 400 ODIs, and as per the record, he probably has about 39 50s and 600. So his percentage of performance is roughly around 10-15% with the bat. But he's still one of the greatest cricketers or to have played for Pakistan. So I'll just read you. This book is written by one of the Wajahat S. Khan. He's one of the journalists. And I'll just read you a few praises like, as brave as a warrior, Shahid Khan Afridi is one of the strongest men I've known. In modern cricket, the only man who can evacuate a stadium by walking off the pitch is Afridi, Ramiz Raja. And a born entertainer, to have played all three forms for such a long career with the pressure he has to deal with and under the weight of expectations that he has to deliver every time, that's something special. Kevin Peterson. So these are the praises by a few cricketers. So for this first extract, I'm just going to go through the foreword, which is presented by none other than the great man himself, Wasim Akram. So the foreword is given by none other than Wasim Akram. But before I go to the foreword, there was a philosopher, Heraclitus, in the Persian Empire back in the 5th century. And he wrote about men on the battlefield. Out of every 100 men, he wrote, 10 shouldn't even be there. मतलब 10 तो होने नहीं चाहिए 100. 80 are just targets. So on a battlefield, out of 100 men, 10 shouldn't be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are the real fighters. So out of that 100, 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, he said, for they make the battle. So they are the ones who fight. But the one is a warrior. So there's just one man who's the true warrior among the 100. What a saying. So I'll continue. You make out whatever you want to make out of that philosopher's saying. So Wasim Akram in a foreword starts, like all great discoveries, it started with a need. So he narrates, we were in a tri-series in Kenya in 1996, and Mushtaq Ahmed, their dependable leggy, was injured, and we were stuck in Africa in dire need of a leggy. And in comes this kid, kind of chubby but straight-edged and quiet. None of us had heard of him before. So in pops this cutie pie. The selectors had picked him with some sense of hope. They said he was all right. We were like, okay, sure, why not? He might work out. But at the time, he was an unknown resource, almost unnoticeable. When he arrived in Nairobi and began bowling in the nets, I remember he came at us hard and fast. And he said that instinctively, his bowling was less Mushtaq Ahmed and more like Anil Kumble. Could have been taller, I remember telling myself. So then he narrates a story about this. Then came the time for him to bat. So he started bowling in the nets. And then it was beginning to get dark. There wasn't much light left. He was the only one who hadn't batted. We were in a hurry to get back to the hotel. It wouldn't have been a major loss. Bowlers never got to bat much in the nets in those days. What the hell, I thought, and asked him to bat up. What happened next didn't let us make it to the hotel in time. First, I started bowling him leg breaks, which means Chinaman because he's a lefty. I was firmly dispatched. Next, Waqar Yunus started bowling him off breaks to him. His deliveries too were smacked viciously. Then both Waqar and tried bowling it at him with the short up run up. With a short run up, both of us were sent packing. I was still skeptical. Clearly, this was a tukka, a lucky strike. So we took longer run-ups and came hard at him. The kid just kept hitting us all over. The harder we came at him, the more confidently he struck the ball. Not once did he seem to flinch. So he hit us for sixes in the dark like he had night vision or something. Soon I decided to call it for. That was getting a base theory. This was getting embarrassing. So the next day, I told him to pad up early. This time, right from ball one, Waqar and I came at him with a full run-up. But the kid was relentless. He hit us harder than he had the previous evening. I remember thinking that the sort of shots he was hammering, had it not been for the nets, the ball would have gone out of the stadium. It was on that day in the nets that it became clear to me that there was talent. This boy had the potential to go places. So then he tells the story about that first match where he hit a 37-ball century. So what he says is that it was on the day in the nets that but then the news came in, his father suffers a heart attack and Saeed Anwar takes over the captaincy, who was to captain to let the kid bat up the order. It was just a suggestion. Saeed knew what he was doing. I didn't know that a casual suggestion would make history. So Wasim Akram tells Saeed tell him to bat up the order. So I heard the news before I actually saw that famous match against Sri Lanka. I read about it in the papers the morning after. That afternoon, I actually saw the damn innings. It was the stuff of a legend. A quick-fire 37-ball century for the ages. That too in 1996, a time when even 230 was considered a defendable total. Late that night, I saw the innings again. I knew Shahid Afridi was here to stay. Such bowler. But let's be honest. I didn't discover Afridi. He would have made it anyway. Although I knew that he had what we Lahoris call parak, the spark. That's why I took him under my wing. Afridi was a shy boy when he started. He wasn't the abrasive, tough guy we see today. He was like an average teenager, a bit awkward. It's not difficult to imagine why. Think about it. The Pakistan lineup he was exposed to at the beginning had Waqar, Salim, Ramiz, Ijaz, Said. He probably had our posters in his room. And then just like that, he was among us. It would have been a difficult transition for anyone. So because he was shy, I soon realized that he needed so I took him on as a project. I started taking him with me to meet folks. I began polishing him, making him come along to dinners and events. I've always believed that if you are a confident person yourself, it starts showing in your line of work too. Shahid Afridi, the teenager, just needed the affirmation only. I captained him for 10 years or so, on and off. We became very fond of each other, of course. But I do remember if we made him perform what we had hired him for, a quick-fire leggy in the team, I know that he has regrets about how his skill sets were not utilized, whatever. So he talks about, he takes him under his thing and he captained him. But overall, I mean, even in his forward, he's mentioned that Afridi didn't live up to his potential. I mean, he was quick, as a leggy even, he was that 4 overs or that 10 overs bowler who would bowl on an ODI or a T20, nothing more than that. And he tells other things about Afridi and the 90s team. And nothing special, just a few praises for the man. Obviously he's putting in the forward. Then another incident he mentions. I remember a match against Zimbabwe. We had a packed stadium in Peshawar, absolutely chock-a-block. There were more people outside the stadium than there were inside. The crowd was going nuts, screaming his name. He came in, pulled a high one, it came off his glove and he was caught first ball. That was his story. He would play on his instinct. And never a calculated cricketer, never used his brain. He was just there bashing. I mean, I don't know how many cricketers missed out because of Afridi being in the team. And he was just a crowd puller and entertainer in my book. So the crowd, then he goes on, the crowd went nuts and attempted to break the gaze. They wanted him to have another go. They said it was a try ball, like it was a street match. The cops had to come in with water cannons and tear gas. It's remarkable that Afridi had that star power just a couple of years into the Pakistan team. Yeah, that's what he was. I mean, the crowd loved it. Him coming in, bashing. He made more of it like a baseball kind of a thing. So, but as a captain in the end, he mentions, nobody kept me on edge more than Afridi did. One couldn't even go to the loo when he was playing in the middle. Mutar karan vi nahi ja sakte. So, that's a fact. You never knew with Afridi. That's because he could change any game, and he was and will remain a game changer. Wasim Akram. So that's for this first one, extract. The next one, I'll start with the first anecdote. Thanks for watching. Just a few illustrations from the book. So that's Shahid with his sister, and we come from a brood of 11. I'm number 5, bang in the middle, wearing blue and holding my little sister, mid-80s. My eldest brother, Tariq, extreme right, a sensational pace bowler during his day. He would have made it far if he weren't injured. Sporting a very 80s mullet, that hairstyle. The gold standard for many fast bowlers at that time. Yes, Imran had a mullet, and I think Ian Botham had it once. Thanks for watching.